Starting the second leg of the Taycan K2K drive was pretty much like being the second runner in a 4x100 meter relay. Vastly underrated and little in terms of excitement. Where Gavin came across some stunning landscapes and a lot of fun challenges, the second leg promised to be a lot more straightforward. So hello everyone and welcome to leg 2 of the amazing Porsche Taycan K2K drive. Gavin's share is finished, it's my turn now, and today we are going to go from Jaipur all the way to Udaipur. Now I really wish I could stay more in this lovely place in Devi Ratna, but we've got a long way to go. My straight jaunt to Mumbai started off in the beautiful city of Jaipur. Beautiful it was, right until the clock struck 9 AM and traffic clogged the picturesque but narrow streets. Nursing the Taycan out of the city amidst the parking sensor's greatest hits was nerve-wracking and a gentle reminder that this wasn't going to be a road trip like in the movies with just long loping highways. And finally the traffic eased up and we were on an open stretch of road. We are out on the highway after trying to navigate this long, wide Porsche through the narrow but very pretty streets of Jaipur. Now we are out on the highway and this is where the Taycan truly shines because this is more of the GT version. This is not the turbo, which means you don't have everything dialed up to 11. It is relaxed, it is very calming, and it is absolutely perfect in this setting. As it munched on the miles and kept washing them down with lithium-ion juice, my range anxiety too was tapering slowly. Now the other reason I was excited for was that I would get to drive the Taycan finally. I've only heard good things about it. Shapur in his review praised it a lot. Gavin as well was really fond of it. And I did want to see what the fuss is all about. It just has that Porsche feel to it. You know, it does feel different from the crowd. Nothing on here feels familiar. You have everything that is designed specifically for the Taycan. And I think that's a really nice touch. You do end up feeling special. The other thing, of course, is that the Taycan is absolutely in its element here. You know, it's a GT car, especially this non-turbo, guys. It is very relaxing, very comforting, but by no means will you forget that this is a Porsche because you step on and it definitely lunges ahead. But again, this drive is not about doing a review of the car. You know, it's about enjoying the whole country in an EV in silence, and that is really unusual because I've been on plenty of drives in my time at Autocar, and none have felt this relaxing or this calming. In fact, even my tone of voice is very, very hushed because there's nothing else. You know, doing that K2K, Kashmir to Kanyakumari, it really is something. And to do it in an EV, you know, with all the challenges we have in our country, the bad infrastructure, roads, charging times, you have no idea what can happen on the highway next. There can be a long line of jam, anxiety. How all those things work is something that is very exciting to find out. And speaking of anxiety, we stopped for a quick top-up on the highway, which incidentally was an MG dealership. Thankfully, the charging station was on the outside of the premises, and most manufacturers are open to any brand of EV for charging. Well, we are halfway through Udaipur and we've decided to take a quick pit stop. You know, the charging infrastructure in our country is not as good as we would have liked, so it's always good to get a little bit of juice whenever you can. It's getting dark real fast. Let's not waste more time. Time to find out how good the Porsche LED dynamic lighting system is. Jaipur to Udaipur isn't that long of a drive, but thanks to the charging stop, we missed entering the city of lakes in daylight. The lighting on the Porsche though was extremely good on the well-marked highways, but on patches that weren't European level, it did struggle a bit. With my eyes peering out in the distance for some corners, which as it turned out I never got, we entered Udaipur and called it a night. After a relaxed night at the Taj Aravali resort, we set off to find a charging station to get our daily fix of charge. However, as soon as we exited the hotel, we ran into a bit of a problem. Well, we've just exited Udaipur and we're heading on towards Ahmedabad. Stopped for a quick top-up, which is not clearly in the city. No cafes or restaurants here. And if you are stranded in this situation, you are bound to be quite bored. So always keep a book in handy. The other thing is that because this charger is sort of isolated from the city, power cuts are quite often. And the big problem with that is that once that happens, the charging station takes its own sweet time to boot up. It decides on connecting to the network, and then you have to go through the entire process of connecting the car again through the app and stuff like that. It is a very frustrating experience. The charging debacle wasn't the only challenge though. Alright, so we are out from the charging station. It's taken quite long and immediately hit this horrible patch. Now, in any other supercar or even sports car, this would have been absolutely impossible, but the Taycan is surprisingly adept over this. Of course, you can raise the suspension and that does help out a lot. And never did I think that I would be able to take a Taycan through a road like this. Of course, the weather has also decided to go against us. It is absolutely pouring. Not a problem in the Taycan, enough grip on offer. But like I said, it makes the overall drive that much more exciting. Once we got out on the highway, conserving the charge that was so hard to come by was my top priority, and that meant hoping for some downhill stretches. Now there's not a lot of these on the stretch, but whenever there's a downhill road, regen is what comes in handy. Now on the Taycan there aren't really modes, but you still get a good amount of resistance, and that's what helps charge that battery. Especially on the highway where you have very little space to brake. So regen on the highway is usually very minimal, but whenever you have these nice downhill stretches, the battery does its job and the regen works really well too. However, it was a Taycan after all, and that too on a wide open stretch. So you can really make use of some of the features on the Taycan. The one or the most exciting one obviously is the Sport Plus mode. Engage that and the car lowers its ride height. You have this sci-fi sound that is being played through the speakers and really gives it a very, very exciting feel. Press your foot. Oh my god, it is absolutely addictive. You can never get enough of it. Now of course you have to be under the speed limit, but this is the best way to enjoy the Taycan or any car for that matter. When you have a set speed limit, there's not much you can do. Top speeds aren't really part of the plan. I mean, this can surely get you to your destination faster. Ahmedabad suddenly doesn't feel that far, but of course I have that range to think about. I always have one eye on the range, and that really isn't the car's fault, to be honest. If the infrastructure was good enough, if I knew there's a charging station right ahead, I wouldn't really be bothered too much, because even in a traditional IC engine sports car, you sort of have to mind the fuel. You don't have high octane fuel everywhere, you don't have the greatest efficiency, so finding premium fuel is a problem. And that's exactly how the Taycan feels. But in terms of excitement and thrill, oh boy, there is plenty. As the sun set, we crossed the Rajasthan border and entered Ahmedabad for the night halt. Last night for my leg was a cozy snooze at the Taj Skyline, Ahmedabad. Next up was the home stretch, the end of leg 2, as I made my final entry into the Taycan's cabin. Alright, final stretch for me at least. I'm going to end the drive in Mumbai. We are headed off from Ahmedabad and it is quite bittersweet, to be honest. Now our plan is to go straight to Mumbai. It is a long journey, almost 10 hours of driving, and I'm not planning on hypermiling at all. I've got ventilated seats on, everything at its maximum, but sadly so is the traffic in Ahmedabad. It is absolutely chaotic here, but my fingers are crossed. I hope to get out of this onto the highway and then straight to Mumbai. Okay, finally out of Ahmedabad's mayhem of traffic and onto the Ahmedabad-Vadodara expressway. It is absolutely seamless, lovely straight roads, nice and broad and very well maintained. After enjoying plenty of that instant acceleration, we encountered what was possibly the worst stretch of the entire trip. Kilometer-long jams, roads that were blown away, and a battery that wasn't topped up with a full charge. As we realized at the end of the drive, sections of the Ahmedabad-Mumbai highway are the worst we encountered over the 4,000 plus kilometers of driving. Well, it's been a really long day of driving, over 8 hours on the road. I've covered over 300 kilometers. Now the range I have is 83, not a lot, and the next charging station, well, the fast charging station is around 78 kilometers away. And that range anxiety that I was talking about is really starting to creep up now. I am getting the jitters slightly because, like you saw, the traffic jams, the roads are absolutely battered. It's peak monsoon season, so the conditions of the road is horrible, and that is really affecting the overall range and overall distance and the time as well. So it just has a domino effect on everything. As the traffic thinned out, what also reduced was the range, and as it dropped below 20% is when the panic settled in. Thankfully, with only 4% left, we nursed the Taycan to a charge zone charging station. This was pushing it to the limit. As we headed out towards the half-asleep Mumbai, I could only be glad about being part of this epic drive. They say it is better to travel well than to arrive, and my leg was certainly that. As much as the scenic views, the challenges were what made it truly epic.
After an eventful first leg, it was a day off for the team, and the Taycan received some TLC at the Porsche Center in Mumbai. My ice-breaking session with the frozen blue Taycan was an easy-going drive past some of Mumbai's landmarks. It's a ceremonial flag off for leg 2 from Autocar India's Mumbai HQ. Joining me for a bit on the day's drive is Porsche India head Manolito Vujicic, who has much to say about the car and the drive.
Also first was thinking about, okay, do we have enough of infrastructure available, but having you today here after...
Right, it's been a discovery for us as well. Do we have the infrastructure? So far we've managed.
This will add for sure confidence not only to Porsche, I think to all electric car drivers from today in the future, that not only a car drive between the city and can be done, that even such an epic drive is possible. We will see also globally what are the largest drive, and with this 4,000 kilometer we are sure in the top lists of a cross-country drive, not only in India, I think all around the world.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But what is it that's drawing buyers to the Taycan, some of which are first-time Porsche owners?
I think if it's a new customer or a traditional customer, the most important thing is sitting in a Taycan is that you feel that you drive a Porsche, and the acceleration, what you just mentioned, it's absolutely brilliant.
Absolutely.
And over conversation and a few thrilling bursts of acceleration, we were done with the Mumbai-Pune expressway. While we break for lunch, the Taycan is plugged in for a quick top-up at a Tata Power charging station. Now, until now, I hadn't been driving this Porsche like a Porsche should be driven. That's until I started the Khambhatki Ghat.
Khambhatki Ghat, Porsche country, and a Porsche should be driven like a Porsche. So Sport Plus, and you've got that little synthetic exhaust sporty note. Not sure if I like it, but what I do like it is the way this car just grips. Whoa! You will change your perception of EVs just with these handful of corners over here. And you know, the Taycan isn't a lightweight. Not a typical Porsche lightweight because those batteries really make it heavy, but it is so agile. I'm just loving it. Just what was it, 3-4 kilometers of really hard driving, knocked off a good 4% of range. So really, the range is just so sensitive to the way you drive.
A few kilometers later, we are stopped by the police, not for speeding, but because they wanted to have a better look at the car. Yes, the blue Taycan was making all sorts of friends. It was evening by the time we rolled into Satara.
It's been a long day, but actually a really interesting one. We've just done under 300 kilometers with one very long lunch break to charge. But other than that, it's been smooth sailing. But what's really shocked us is the attention the Taycan has got. We've been stopped everywhere. Even the police stopped us to have a look at the car. So really a lot of interest in a car that's going all electric from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. And we're just somewhere near the halfway mark. The action is going to continue tomorrow. Nikhil's going to take over from now on. So over to him.